another great episode of Enterprise Morning, reaching you from Enterprise Television from the heart and economic hub of Nigeria, Lagos. My name is Henry Igwibiki.
And my name is Kendi Boduri.
All right, Lord, let's kickstart today with our newspapers, and right after that will be our main conversation also for today. Please do well to be part of what we do, have a say in what we say. You can always find and reach us right here on Enterprise Television, that is at enterprisetvnews.com. You may equally like, comment, and follow us on all our social media platforms at Enterprise TV7. We're very so honored to have with us right here in our studios Barrister Vansu Feli, Barrister, Law Public Affairs Analyst, to see through all that we have from our newspapers, and if possible, we'll crisscross straight to our main conversation for today. Good morning to you, Barrister.
Good morning.
Thank you so very much for your time.
Thank you very well.
Well, so let's kickstart today, Kende, with the first Delhi. And which do we have? I think let's start with the Guardian newspaper.
Okay,
Yes. So from the Guardian newspaper, the big story here: MPC caught in rate cut trade-offs as banks demand CRR reviews. Yes. And what else do we have from the Guardian newspaper?
We have why.
No, from the Guardian newspaper.
Okay, from the Guardian newspaper, we have Edo, Benue governors under fire over threats to Obi.
Yes, and apart from that, we also have other interesting stories. Just below that, on the bottom strip, Tinubu Bakari lauds Awojale's contribution to APC political success.
So,
What else do we have there?
okay, we have NBA proposes changes to electoral acts, wants beavers and IREV,
Yes, legalized. But Barrister, let's start with this issue. It's very interesting. It's brewing right now. The Edo State Governor Okpebolo and the threat he has for His Excellency Peter Gregory. We have it from the front page here. Edo Benue governors under fire over threat to Obi. But just before I love you to answer that, let's have the opportunity of watching what Okpebolo said while he was addressing the team.
Don't come to Edo without telling me, because his security will never be guaranteed. Whatever happens to him when he's in Edo State, he will take it.
The governor can say that because of the kind of hatred that people have for Peter Obi in the state, including me. And when you have people, so many of us that have such hatred for people like that, especially when they came to Edo State and people died, it is proper for him to tell the governor before he will come, so that people like us will be sent on errand out of Edo before he can come and possibly go.
That is threatening, isn't it?
Yeah. Okpebolo is one governor that appears to have been exhibited some very unusual behavior, especially because throughout his campaign period, Oshomole did not even allow the people to listen to him. He never honored any interview to weigh his intellectual prowess, to look at his poise and ability to intellectually hold conversation as a governor. The man is a stark illiterate. He has no poise. He does not understand what it means to be an executive governor of a state. So if it were not that he is a governor that have immunity under the law, under section 38 of the 1999 Constitution, he should be arrested and prosecuted because that was threat to life. And it's uncalled for a governor to issue such threat. That is why Plato said that do not choose the most intelligent among you to lead. The philosopher king should be allowed. They are the only one that should be allowed to lead. Don't allow people with haphazard intellection to mount up leadership. In the olden days, when you act like this, they eliminate the people immediately.
They eliminate the leader.
Yes, when the person acts stupidly like this, they eliminate them. They are, because he's a security risk person. He does not even know First, he was in this same tenure that he couldn't read his budget. A budget that is supposed to be an executive bill, which presupposes that the executive prepares it. Who is the head of the executive? The governor at the state level. It presupposes that he should prepare, he should know the budget in and out. He couldn't read the budget. Now, as if that was not bad enough, he's not able to, because of opposition and unnecessary hatred they have for P2P. He keeps saying that it shouldn't come. By the Constitution in Chapter 4, 1999 Constitution, every citizen have a right of movement. Okay? A citizen does not need the approval of a governor to get into a state. Neither does he need the approval of any person to get into a state. By virtue of citizenship, you have acquired the inalienable right to move from point A to point B.
But for a VIP
to own properties anywhere.
Yes. But I was asking, because I'm not holding brief for Opebolo now, but alluding to what he had said, Peter Obi is, in quotes, a VIP, which they said should need a bit of clearance.
No, it doesn't need clearance. By our laws, whether you are a VIP or not, in fact, our laws do not recognize VIP or whatsoever. As a citizen, you have a right to move from one point. It's a constitutional matter. They are inalienable rights. Inalienable rights are rights that even the government cannot take away from you. They are rights that you acquire by birth, by being a human being, like the right to life. We call them inalienable rights. Such rights cannot be derogated on any ground. Okay? The only time such rights can be derogated if the exception exists, where perhaps there's mutiny, there's insurrection, there's war, there's curfew, okay? And so your right to movement, freedom of movement, will be temporarily suspended for the purposes of the aforementioned. Not when the society is in a normal place, and then you come out and say, he must come and tell you before you enter those states. That's hatred. That can only be brought by an illiterate mind, a stark illiterate becoming a governor. Once you allow an illiterate to become a governor, you will be disgraced. And that's exactly what is going on in that state. There's insecurity in the state. He has not been able to tackle insecurity. He's asking P2B to come and inform him before he enters the state. I find that rather laughable. And I think the people of Edo State will need to restrain their governor. First, teach him how to talk. No, teach him how to read and write first. He should be taught how to read and write first. Then he should be taught how to talk, and then he should be taught how to, or should be impeached. Because what he did now is an impeachable offense. If you have a democracy in that state, the state House of Assembly by now should congregate, and because it's a constitutional infraction, gross misconduct by law, so it should be impeached. And that is the only way to salvage it, because it's going to give serious blunder in future. That's what happens when a governorship candidate is shielded from interviews. Because if he had gone for interviews during the campaign, the people would have seen it. This one cannot. How did he even become a senator in the first place? He was a lawmaker before. How did he become a lawmaker? This one cannot be a governor. It should have been clear by the interview, but they shielded him throughout, but they know he cannot speak. He cannot read, he cannot write. So it's a problem, it's their burden to bear, because they elected him as it were.
That's our country for you. So, sir, with all of these, how has Peter Obi or his camp, responded to this alleged threats?
I've not heard from Peter Obi's camp. I mean, what response do you give to an illiterate who unfortunately became a governor under that same contradiction? The APC, the other APC man.
Yes, Emperor Jarrett Atenebe.
Yes, was trying to defend the issue, right?
Yeah, he was defending it, but at the same time, refueling yet another threat.
Yes, and that is what you find when you also have people who want to, put right, wrong, defend indefensible because of party affair. Nobody can defend that thing. The more you defend, the more you look stupid. Yes, because first, the governor does not know. You see, when a man is empty, it's empty. That is why, when people are going to school, at all means, join them to go to school. At all means, at all costs. When they are moving from one class to the other, join them. When they are graduating, join them. There's a reason for these things. By the time you are nowhere to be found, I mean, just 2 days ago, after he made that statement, his wife result was uploaded on the internet.
Yeah.
You understand? His wife result was uploaded on the internet. And even the wife I wrote while I was in XS1, where I just went there to play.
In fact, Barrister, we have it here.
I had more than 7 credits.
It's very important we read out some of the scores. In commerce, he had D7, Christian religious knowledge D7, economics D7, government E8, English language D7, mathematics C5. So he actually wrote about 6 subjects altogether. So
is somebody like that you expect to what do you expect? A man cannot be better than what he knows. You understand? When I went to write back at my SS1, I went there to play. I had over 7 credits, all from my intellection, like seamlessly. You know, so people like this, it's unfortunate that Nigeria has descended into a state that is unbearable. I mean, why should this man be a governor? How? In a state that's a highly educational development state, like Edo State, where they go to school so much. And then you have this kind of thing. That's what happens when you don't have electoral reform. You have electors that also will compromise the electoral system by vote buying, collecting gratification to vote anybody. You understand? And the rest of that. There's nothing he's going to do in that state that will impress me, no matter the development he brings to the state, for which he cannot even bring any kind of development that is, as long as he's not school and is rude. You understand? Ignorant people, they are succor, they are safe haven. It's when they keep quiet. Even the Bible says so. That when they keep mute, you would think they are normal like every other person until they make an expression. Okay, so we shouldn't allow people like this to become governors. We shouldn't allow people like this to lead at any level. That is why Plato, warned so early that only philosophers should be allowed to lead. Truly, they are the only ones that can lead in the true terms of things. This one is not, it's horrible, because children were listening to him.
Yes.
And that, when he couldn't read budget, children were listening. They saw it. And now this is another outing that he should come and tell you as a governor before you enter your state and the rest of that. That means you don't even know the provision of the constitution you took an oath to defend. Okay, we're even talking about constitution. This man cannot read and we're talking about constitution. Constitution is too high for it. It does not fit in as a governor. And this is a call on the State House of Assembly of if they have the bias or the vintage of love, they should commence an impeachment proceeding immediately. Take him out of that place. He cannot lead.
Well, we do not know if that is even possible in the first place, because every member of the State House of Assembly are all standing on the mandate. They've all defected from the PDP to the APC. So we do not know how this will turn out to be. And interestingly, at the same time, funnily, Nigerian politicians have gotten so used to Nigerians talking so much, and they know the time, the duration at which we might say all that we need to say, and before we know what happened, it fizzles away. So the question is, how do we even get past this talking thing? Is it ever possible to get past this talking thing?
It's possible if we have the patriotic spirit to change Nigeria. Like you said now, the APC, because we don't end politics, we never know when to end politics. They will not. The impeachment I'm talking about is impossible.
Yes.
Because the State House, all of them in the State House, they had the input of the governor to even get there.
Yes.
You understand? The local government, the same thing. So who is going to raise an impeachment notice, and who is going to do that? You understand? But I'm just saying that in a normal society, You know, the democracy established by ancient Greece, for example, where debate and advocacy is a hallmark of the democratic engagement. You understand? Where your actions and inactions are judged on the scale of your office, not on the bearing of your political parties. He will not survive it. He will not survive it. That is why in the United States, debate determines where the people's vote goes to. Yes, whether you are Democrat or Republican, what you say during the debate goes a long way to influence the vote and all that. So that's why their system is different. And when the candidate is talking, the aspirant is talking about the economy, the average person understands what he's saying, okay? Because it's an educationally high developed country, so an advanced country of such. But unfortunately here it's not the same. If the candidate is talking, he can talk from now to tomorrow, speak all the English in the world. As long as he does not have bags of money and he doesn't have people who are out there to give the electors money in exchange for their vote, they will not even listen.
Very sad truth there, but that is what it is. But let's move on to another issue. This coming from the NBA, Nigerian Bar Association proposes changes to Electoral Act once Beavers IREV legalized. And of course, that is coming from the NBA chairman, Osigwe SAN, on that particular one. I think we'll have to get to that one, but just before we get to that, if our council to sue Ogun government over Awujale's burial. Barrister, let's go to your catchment area, the NBA, proposing changes to Electoral Act once the Beavers IREV legalized. Now, knowing that it's coming from a reputable organization like the NBA, do you think someone would listen?
Yeah, they should. I mean, the proposal will be sent to the National Assembly. It's important to make Beavers and the IREV legal, because the reason it will not be relied on during the electoral, during the petition, the electoral petition that just led to, which gave APC the victory, because these items, IREV, Beavers and the rest of them, were seen as supplements, you understand, such that it is not in the law that they are a condition precedent and they are binding and all that. So when it was not used, when it was dispensed with, the court couldn't hold INEC responsible for dispensing with it, because there's no provision in the Electoral Act that made it compulsory or mandatory.
Okay.
You understand? But now they are saying that this must form the fulcrum of the determination of who have won election or lose election. Okay. And so if it's incorporated into the Electoral Act, and you now have an amendment that incorporates it before 2027, then it will become mandatory, in which case it cannot be dispensed with. So INEC will have to use it at all costs. And the outcome therefrom is what will determine the results, and not just what you see as a conspiracy. Somebody arranging and announcing results 4 a.m. and when Nigerians woke up, they woke up to rude awakening. You understand? And when they press forward and the electoral tribunal to say the Arab was not used, the Beavers was not used, the court was of the view that you need to provide the laws that say it has to be used by all means. So that is where they are trying to tackle that from. But that is what responsible societies do. Laws are dynamic. Because when you have innovations, it is very important that you incorporate those innovations into law. It's not enough to have a proposal. You understand? This ought to have been muted before the election.
So the duration for having that etched in the Constitution, do we have like a standing duration when we have innovations that might not be before now? Is there a duration to have them in there, or does
No,
it still
no,
have to sit through lots of?
No, they would. It's an amendment proposal,
Yes.
just like you have constitutional amendments, where you have some sections of the constitution that there's a proposal for the amendment. This one, you have some areas where they want to add some things into the Electoral Act 2020. So they are proposing for an amendment of the Electoral Act, so that we can have another one for 2027. Between now and 2027 is enough time, okay? If they're able to put it together, present to the president for his assent, as long as they're able to do all that before 90 days to the election. That will now, be part of the law.
All right, let's see. Do you have
Okay,
any
I think
question?
I have a question, and it's about still on the Electoral Act. What specific sections of the Electoral Act is the NBA recommending should be amended to accommodate beavers and IREM?
There are specific. I cannot cite the specific section, but there are many of them. There are up to 11 sections scattered around the Electoral Act. Okay. Yes. And is to give us a kind of reform, electoral reform, from the statute itself, from the Act itself, and that is that if we have the provisions of the Electoral Act that makes it mandatory, of course you cannot go back.
Yes.
And what that means is that vote will not count. At least what is coming out from the beavers, okay, will be what happened in the polling unit. Because as we are voting, it goes directly.
It goes directly. Yes.
So it will be what comes out, but it still does not solve the problem.
Okay.
Because now you are trying to intercept. You want what happened in the polling unit to reflect in the machine, right?
Okay.
But what happened before we get to the polling unit? Who's taking care of it? That is vote buying. Before you get to the polling unit, I've intercepted you on the road and giving you money. So when you get to the polling unit, you are executing the transaction we had already.
So you're saying that there's like a behind the scene before the action?
Yeah, we need another law, or you need another amendment if possible. How will it be possible for you to be able to make a law that will address that part? Because
can any law address the issue of emotion? Because vote buying is emotion.
That's what I'm saying.
Yes.
That's what I'm saying, that you cannot have a law that, what would the law do? To change the mind of the person or to strip the person's mind open? So that one can only be addressed by a patriotic willingness by the individual person to see that Nigeria changes. But you never come to have that. Because Nigerians are so much in love with their pain. They are so much in love with their captors. Because these people are in captivity. And anytime they get at the verge of changing the narrative, once they remember their fellowship with poverty and their fellowship with their past, they make sure that they do not change anything. There's a young man that's going about on social media now with Buhari's picture on a canvas, okay. For 2027. Tinubu's picture for 2027. He goes around to people's shop. Then he will now be asking the woman or the man that they should help him. He's stranded, doesn't have money to eat. With that banner for Tinubu 2027. And if you see the reaction in every shop, whether it's a Christian, a Muslim, if you see the reaction, in one of the cases, they poured water on him and he ran away. He's doing content.
Okay, that should be sarcasm, isn't it?
Yes, it's sarcasm. He's doing content. He's testing the pulse of, you understand?
How people feel, the perception.
People are really going into this content.
And the guy is a polyglot. He speaks every language. He enters, he speaks Yoruba, he speaks Igbo. He just speaks anywhere he goes, and he discovers that the people are this, he starts to speak the language. And he has sores all over his body. He's still doing it. You understand? So you see that the level of discontent is high because of the way the economy has been managed over the last 2 years. 2 years ago, this was not how we're looking. We're much more brighter. See how we're looking now. Okay, so the country has taken a serious position. That is why the electoral reform is important. And that is why MBA is calling for that reform. Okay. That reform is to make sure that whatever happens in the polling unit reflect, at least let it reflect. Let's now think about what we can do to what happened before you get to polling units.
All right, so let's get to, just before we get to the next paper, there's an interesting story here, and it borders still on what the law says about this. If our counsel to sue government over Awojale's burial. Barrister, constitutionally, the law permits three religions, the Christian, the Muslim, and traditional worship.
Yes.
Now, is it okay for one part of the tripod to sue for a contest against another? Because Awojale is being revered as a traditional leader who practices, who should literally practice the traditional system of worship. But when he was buried in a Muslim kind of way. Now the Ifa is suing, hopes to sue the Ogun State government for allowing that happen. Is there a disconnect?
I think they have a case.
They have a case.
Yeah, because I mean, there's a traditional right established. Okay. You know, this issue of traditional worship, kingship, and all that falls under the jurisdiction of the High Court, State High Court.
Oh, okay.
Yes, under State High Court. So, I think they have a case because, first of all, why would they supplant the religion of the Awojale? Is it Awojale?
Yes, Awojale.
Why would they supplant it with the Muslim rites of burial or whatever it is? That's wrong. I expected them to know enough. I expected them, the persons who pretended over that activity, they should know enough about the religious rites and practices. Okay. You understand? Yeah, they should. I mean, why would they contaminate the process? Because the process is contaminated. You see, the Islam and the Christianity are foreign religion. You understand? I mean, before 1742, we did not have anything like Christianity or Muslim or whatsoever. People worship God the way they understood it, the way their ancestors did it. Yes, and you cannot fault that. You cannot fault what the kind of tradition people, as long as under the law allow every tradition and recognize every tradition, as long as it passes two tests, the validity test and the repugnancy test. So those two tests is, if the practice is repugnant to natural justice, equity, and good conscience, like the killing of twins, using human beings for rituals, you know, cutting off people's limbs and arms to offer to idols, and the rest of that. As long as those ones are repugnant to natural justice, equity, and good conscience. But if you take all those ones off, whatever is left, as long as it's not repugnant, as long as it passes the validity test, is allowed by law. So the burial of the Awojale that has to do with traditional practice, as long as it does not involve the aforementioned, it should be buried the way the traditional rites. You understand?
A stakeholder actually blamed Awojale himself because of usually people are either born as Christians or Muslims. The traditional title itself is what they adopt in addition to where they were coming from. He has been a Muslim. He ascended to the throne, and once in a while he goes back to practice his Muslim faith. So is there any way we can blame the government for burying him in what he is known for or known with, as against the title that he...
Now, with those who went to court, the Ifa that went to court, were they not there when that burial took place? When the preparation and all that, they should have been able to, or maybe they tried and they were rebuffed, perhaps. Because for them to be going to court, maybe they must have been shut down or shut out.
Maybe.
Yes, because for me, I think they have a case. But it's just these days, many traditional rulers or people of different kind of tradition, they mix almost all the religions together. I remember not too long ago, I just, in my village now, even the idol worshippers, when they finish, before the idol, when they pour libation and say all the things they want to say to the idol, at the end, they will now say, Nefa Jesu, that is in the name of Jesus.
Really?
Yes. in the same place.
Wow.
You understand? So it's, I know that Christianity have a very strong appeal, you know, because it is a religion that is the most talked about religion in the world. Okay, so the influence is heavy. Okay, so people tend to mix it. There are people who go to church and they tie charm.
Yeah, very true.
Yeah, they just feel that if this one no, this one no. So that convolution is also a problem. So people blame their worldly life for that too, and for the fact that he ought to have left a will. You understand? He should have left a will and say, okay, in my demise, you get. That's why people leave wills to avoid this kind of conflict. Yes, bury me according to this right.
Yes, okay.
Despite that, when you bury an Islamic right, bury this is the place. You can set that out in your way to avoid conflict. But when the man died intestate, that's without a will, and he's of this kind of traditional whatever. Usually they consult.
Yeah.
Now, it's only the court that can resolve this, as far as I can.
Sure.
Well, the truth is that he's been buried.
That's the most
The prayer has
important
been
thing.
held. President Bola Tinubu made appearance with his wife.
Yes.
So I do not know if they will have to excavate him and rebury him in the traditional way. If the court goes in their favor, I do not know how that would work. I don't know. But let's take a look at other matters from the Daily Trust just before we call it a quick for this particular segment. Stay away from National Assembly. Senate wants Natasha. Barrister.
Yes, because also the Senate has gone on appeal. Okay, the Senate went on a cross appeal, while Natasha herself also appealed. You know, appeal the fact that she is not going to apologize. She was the one that was wronged. Why the Senate appealed on the ground that their preliminary objection ought to have been upheld. That the Senate, the activities of Senate under Section 252, 2521 of the Constitution is not a matter you bring before a court for litigation, because that's what they call legislative privilege under the law. Okay, that is their grounds of appeal, and that the court of first instance erred in law to have reached the conclusion it's reached. While Natasha is saying the court also erred in law to have asked her to apologize when she was the one who was wrong and all that. So, as it stands now, there are two appeals, and so once you go on appeal, there's usually a stay of execution of the judgment, and so she cannot resume.
She cannot resume.
She cannot resume it, but the case is on appeal. Because if she resumes, it means that the purpose of the appeal is defeated. The reason they also went on appeal is just to keep buying time, keep consuming legislative time for her, so that by the time the court finish, by the Supreme Court and all that, she will have no more legislative days to go back to Superintendent and all that. But let's watch and see what happens. I mean, from the point of law, she cannot resume.
Well, they've told her to wait for the expiration date of the 6 months before she does any sort of resumption. Natasha herself is a barrister, so she understands the law. So I love to believe
she has spent 4 months already.
Yeah, 4 months already. So it's just 2 months to go, but she wants in by all costs. But of course, let's see how that goes. It's a developing story, ladies and gentlemen, and of course we'll be letting you on as it unfolds. Barrister will be here to take us on our main conversation. That is when we return. Tinubu's delay in envoy appointment hot in Nigeria, and that's coming from ADC. Still Enterprise Morning. Please don't go anywhere.